Before you move on, I need you to pause and listen carefully. What I'm about to share isn't some generic advice you've heard 100 times. It's something that can completely shift how a woman perceives you. And it's the kind of insight most men never discover. Most men go their whole lives interacting with women in ways that unknowingly stifle connection, diminish attraction, and leave them wondering why their efforts go unnoticed. But you're here now, and if you stay with me, you're about to learn something actionable, something you could use tonight that will linger in her mind long after your conversation ends. Take a slow breath, center yourself, and if you haven't already, give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next steps. This is the kind of knowledge that changes how you show up in every interaction. Here's the truth. Women notice far more than most men realize. They respond less to the words themselves and more to the emotional resonance behind them. Compliments aren't just phrases, they are invitations into her inner world when delivered correctly. Most men compliment superficially. You look beautiful. Nice hair. Pretty eyes. These are what women hear every single day from strangers, co-workers, even friends. They're predictable, forgettable, and carry almost no emotional weight. But when a compliment is precise, thoughtful, and unexpected, it sparks something different. It creates a ripple in her mind. She doesn't just hear the words, she experiences them. They linger, they loop in her thoughts. And when this happens, you move beyond superficial attraction. You enter the realm of emotional connection, where a woman starts imagining, replaying, and analyzing your words. She begins to see you differently. Most men aren't taught this. They haven't learned to recognize the power of emotional recognition over physical praise. When you notice parts of her she keeps private, her ideas, her insights, the way her mind works, you're not simply giving a compliment, you're validating a core part of her identity. And that's magnetic in a way surface-level praise never is. Let me explain how this works. The first kind of compliment doesn't touch her appearance. It doesn't talk about her smile or hair. Instead, it honors her thinking. You might say something like, "I love the way your mind works." It's simple, but it strikes at the heart of how she perceives herself. Her mind pauses for a moment, her defenses soften, and she feels seen in a way few people ever notice. This kind of recognition matters deeply because women are constantly processing, analyzing, and evaluating how they impact the world around them. They want to feel that someone genuinely observes and appreciates the uniqueness of their mind. When you acknowledge that, you're telling her she matters, not for how she looks, but for how she engages with life. Most men default to vague praise like, "You're smart," but that's flat and forgettable. Instead, point out something specific, even subtle, about her thought patterns, her creativity, or her intuition. "I love how you approach that problem," or "the way you explain things makes me see them differently," is far more impactful. It encourages her imagination, sparks curiosity, and invites a mental replay of your conversation. This is not about manipulation or clever lines. It's about emotional accuracy and authentic presence. Women fantasize, not in a superficial or sexual sense, but emotionally. They replay interactions where they felt understood, where someone noticed something they thought was invisible. When your words touch these deeper layers, they form a loop in her mind. She starts to think about you long after the conversation ends, wondering what else you've observed, what else you notice, and what it all means. And this is only the beginning, because once you understand how to craft a compliment that resonates with her emotional self, you can layer it, reinforcing the connection each time you interact. She begins associating you with recognition, understanding, and safety, the kind of feelings that create lasting attraction. Now, before I reveal the next type of compliment, it's important to grasp why the first works so effectively. A woman's emotional brain lights up when she feels seen. It's not about being clever or performing. It's about genuinely reflecting her essence back to her. When your words carry that authenticity, they become unforgettable. She begins to imagine your presence even when you're not there, replaying the sensations and thoughts that accompanied your recognition. This is the first key principle. Notice the unseen. Recognize what others overlook. Speak to her mind, her creativity, her intuition, and her way of seeing the world. That is the language of deep emotional attraction. And when done with presence, calm confidence, and sincerity, it transforms how she experiences you, not just in the moment, but in memory. Now that you understand the first type of compliment, recognizing her mind and the way she thinks, it's time to explore the second, even more powerful compliment. This one doesn't just notice her intellect, it touches the part of her that feels most unseen, most misunderstood. Every woman, no matter how confident or self-assured she appears, carries a private world inside her. Thoughts, fears, dreams, vulnerabilities. She rarely shares them openly. And when a man acknowledges that world without judgment, without trying to fix or impress, he creates a connection that is magnetic in a way few men ever experience. The second compliment is simple, yet profound. There's something about your energy that stays with me. It may sound poetic or abstract, but to her, it carries a weight that words like beautiful or smart simply cannot achieve. You are not commenting on her appearance, her style, or her personality. You are recognizing the aura she naturally emits, the presence that affects others unconsciously, the energy she carries effortlessly into the world. Think about it. Women are constantly wondering how they're perceived. They ask themselves if they leave a mark, if they're memorable, if they matter. When you say her energy lingers with you, you're telling her that she impacts you on a level she cannot control or fake. You are seeing the part of her that exists quietly, away from the spotlight, the part that rarely receives acknowledgement. This compliment works on multiple levels. First, it conveys emotional significance. You are letting her know she matters, not just in the moment, but in the impression she leaves behind. Second, it sparks curiosity. She begins to analyze what it is about her energy that touched you. Which conversation, which gesture, which glance. And in this curiosity, her imagination awakens. She replays moments, subtly trying to understand how she influenced you. The brilliance of this compliment is in its simplicity. You don't over-explain, you don't embellish, you don't try to impress. You speak from observation and experience. And the more grounded, calm, and sincere your delivery, the stronger the effect. Women instinctively sense when a man's words are genuine versus performative. They feel the difference immediately. Now let's look at the psychological mechanism behind this. Women experience attraction first and foremost through emotional resonance, long before physical traits dominate their attention. By telling her her energy stays with you, you trigger emotional processing. She starts to imagine herself from your perspective. She evaluates the impression she left, the subtleties of her presence, and how it aligns with the inner image she holds of herself. This is an intimate form of validation, one that creates both curiosity and attachment. This compliment also encourages a sense of exclusivity. Many people may notice her appearance, her humor, or her intellect, but few acknowledge the invisible ripple she leaves behind, the way she naturally affects the environment and the people around her. When you do, you become memorable in a deeper, emotional sense. You are no longer just someone she met. You are someone who perceives her in a way no one else has. Here's the key to using this compliment effectively: timing and presence. It cannot be rushed or tossed casually into a conversation. Deliver it slowly, with calm confidence. Look her in the eyes just long enough to convey sincerity, but not in a way that feels forced. Let your tone reflect truth, not performance. This is not a line, it's an expression of recognition. And when she experiences this recognition repeatedly, it begins to imprint on her subconscious. She starts to connect you with a sense of being seen, understood, and valued, not superficially, but on the level of energy and presence. She remembers how you made her feel more than what you said, and that feeling, once associated with you, becomes magnetic. The first compliment sparked imagination. The second compliment deepens emotional resonance. Together, they create a layered connection that moves beyond surface attraction. She begins to replay interactions, lingering on moments when your words, tone, and attention aligned perfectly with her inner world. And the beauty of this approach is that it doesn't require clever tricks, manipulation, or rehearsed lines. It requires awareness, observation, and authenticity. Next, we'll explore the third and final compliment, the one that creates emotional fascination and leaves a woman with a sense of calm and safety, a rare, powerful emotional effect that pulls her closer without pressure or effort. This compliment doesn't just acknowledge her, it reflects the way she affects you in a way she may not even realize, activating a level of connection most men never reach. Now we arrive at the third and final compliment, the one that takes everything we've discussed and transforms it into emotional fascination. Unlike the first two, which notice her mind and her energy, this one speaks to the effect she has on you. It highlights the subtle power she carries to influence your emotional state without even trying. The words are simple, soft, and deeply meaningful. I feel calmer when I talk to you. At first glance, it might seem understated, even modest, but its impact is profound. You are telling her that her presence affects you positively on an emotional level. She isn't just someone you enjoy being around. She has the ability to create peace, to settle the noise in your mind, to leave you grounded. And for a woman, this kind of acknowledgement is rare and precious. It communicates that she matters in a way beyond appearance, beyond charm, beyond performance. Women instinctively crave emotional influence, but not in the manipulative sense. They want to be a source of calm, comfort, and connection to the people they care about. When you tell her she brings that effect to you, you are validating her subtle power and influence, and in return, you activate her emotional attachment. This compliment creates a loop in her mind. She starts noticing her own impact on you, replaying moments, and imagining what it means to be this kind of presence in your life. Here's why it works psychologically. Women experience attraction primarily through emotional resonance, not physical appearance. When you notice the effect she has on your inner state, you are showing her that she is significant on a level most people don't reach. She begins to associate you with calm, security, and emotional presence. These associations are more powerful than surface-level compliments because they engage her identity and her desire for connection. Timing and delivery are critical. Say it slowly with sincerity, letting the words land naturally. Your tone should reflect genuine experience, not performance. Look at her with quiet confidence. Let your energy reinforce the message that you feel grounded and safe in her presence. This combination of words, presence, and energy is what makes the compliment unforgettable. When paired with the first two compliments, recognizing her mind and the subtle energy she carries, this creates a three-layered emotional effect. She feels seen, she feels influential, and she feels understood. The cumulative effect is fascination. She begins replaying interactions, reflecting on your words, and imagining what other ways she might touch your life. She doesn't consciously analyze it, yet the imprint is deep and lasting. This is emotional attraction at its core. It isn't about manipulation, performance, or rehearsed lines. It's about presence, awareness, and genuine recognition. When a man observes, appreciates, and acknowledges these deeper parts of a woman, he activates her imagination, curiosity, and emotional engagement. That is how attraction becomes effortless and lasting. The final piece of the puzzle is understanding that words alone are not enough. The emotional environment around them, the calmness in your tone, the steadiness of your presence, the sincerity in your attention multiplies their effect. Women respond to the complete experience, words paired with authentic emotional resonance. When your compliments are delivered with this combination, they settle into her mind, linger, and become memories she carries. These three compliments, the recognition of her mind, the acknowledgement of her energy, and the reflection of her calming influence, form a complete strategy for emotional connection. They speak to her identity, her subtle impact, and the parts of herself she guards most carefully. And because they come from authenticity, not performance, they build trust, fascination, and attraction simultaneously. Most men focus on appearance, charm, or confidence, often neglecting the deeper elements of emotional presence. By learning to recognize, reflect, and acknowledge these layers of her emotional world, you create a unique and unforgettable presence. You don't have to be perfect, overly romantic, or flashy. You simply have to observe, connect, and express your genuine experience of her. Ultimately, women remember how you make them feel far longer than the exact words you say. They replay moments where they felt understood, noticed, and valued. When you combine the right words with calm, grounded presence, you become the kind of man she thinks about long after the conversation ends. You become the benchmark, the standard, the one who activated her emotional curiosity and left a lasting impression. This is the art and science of emotional attraction. It is not manipulation. It is awareness, authenticity, and emotional resonance. When you speak to her mind, her energy, and the effect she has on you, you create a connection that is unforgettable, magnetic, and deeply human. And that is the foundation for any meaningful, lasting relationship. Take these insights, practice them with intention, and watch how your interactions transform. You will not only be remembered, you will be felt, cherished, and respected for the depth and sincerity of your attention. This is more than attraction. This is creating emotional presence, leaving a mark that lasts long after the conversation ends.